if we're going to speak about throwing, and we mentioned Isaiah Campbell earlier, the guy he was traded for has not made some very good headlines this spring training. Apparently, Luis Urias, I think as we mentioned last episode, he's still not throwing across the diamond. He still cannot throw across a baseball diamond. He's playing catch at about 70 feet right now because of some shoulder issues he's dealing with. And he showed up to camp in, quote, from the report from Ryan Divish, in less than stellar shape, which is troubling, a troubling combination.
Tell you what, Luis Urias is no first impression guy, I'll tell you that. I mean, you put up a WRC plus under 90 last year. You come into camp reportedly out of shape, and you can't throw the ball. Like, you're not off to a hot start, pal, I gotta say.
And for us coming on here and saying, well, I think in the aggregate, Josh Rojas and Luis Urias could match Matt Chapman. I'm not sure I can stand up to that right now after reading some of these reports. I mean, Divish said he left him off his projected opening day roster because of how he's currently sits. That's like unacceptable. That can't happen.
No, it's not good. It's really
Josh Rojas, great guy. He cannot be a starting third baseman on his own. That cannot happen.
He was platooning at second base when he got over here last year. And again, we figured he'd probably platoon at third. And there are other options for what they could do if Urias is going to miss time. But I hope this trade still works out for the Mariners. But it is not promising when a third baseman for back-to-back years comes into camp out of shape, because there are reports that Gino was not in shape in spring training last year. Now it's happening with Urias again. You gave up a quality reliever to get the guy. You are banking on a bounce back. It's not like you're trading for Urias after he put up one of his 110, 112 WRC plus seasons. No, he had a bad year last year. And you are banking that he can put that in the rearview mirror. But for everything he's so far endured, like, he's not instilling a lot of hope in people right now. Because again, if you're not in shape and you can't throw the ball and you're not playing in games and you might start on the IL and then your season's delayed, not great.
Not great. Matt Chapman's still a free agent. He's still there.
Let's come back to him in a minute. We can talk about him. I will say before that, do we want to throw out a couple other options? Because here's what internally the Mariners have right now. They have Brian Anderson. He's in camp. I think that one probably makes the least sense because he's a reverse. He's a reverse splits guy. He actually hits better against righties than lefties, and he's probably not expected to make the roster anyway. Michael Chavis is interesting. He's actually had a decent camp so far, and you look at his career. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he has torched left-handed pitching in his career, but his career OPS against lefties is 716. Like, it's above league average these days. In 2021, during his best year, it was over 800. It was like 720. It was 723 last year. Yeah, look at these splits for Chavis, by the way. He had a 723 OPS against lefties last year and a 352 OPS against righties. So he hits lefties better than righties, that's for sure. That is one option. I'll throw out one more guy in a minute, but of those two, am I in the right mind of thinking for saying Chavis probably makes more sense?
And if I were to put money on it, it would probably end up being one of those two, if I'm going to guess at this point.
The ice horse to Seattle, as Jared Carrabis famously coined him. So
how did he earn that? Do you remember how he earned that nickname?
I'm going to be honest with you, no, but I know Carrabis has called him that for a while. So listen, if he's coming over to Seattle, Jared, you can rightfully pass the torch to us, and we will continue the Ice Horse nickname here on the Marine Layer Pod.
Well, we can have Jared back on at the All-Star break to talk about Michael Chavis's All-Star first half.
That sounds great. And you know what? He'll be a supporter. I'm pretty sure Carrabis was always a Michael Chavis guy. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I will throw out one more option, and this gets a little bit complicated. If it's not going to be Chavis, if it's not going to be Anderson, if it's not anybody outside the organization, is there any chance Ryan Bliss makes the opening day roster now with this Urias thing? Now,
I don't think he's...
Well, go ahead.
I don't think he's a third baseman.
So you just hit the nail on the head. Ryan Bliss has not played a inning at third base in his college or professional career in his time in the minor leagues. No third base. He's played short. He's played second. He's not played third. So you would have to kind of maneuver some things around. I guess you could float with the idea of, does Rojas go back to second? Him and Bliss platoon at second. Polanco goes and plays third if Urias is going to miss time. That is an option. So
yeah,
and if you,
an upside option.
Bliss, yeah, if you think that Bliss is your best bat in terms of options, and he can hit lefties, so he'd platoon with Rojas, and we know Polanco can play third. He's not a great defender, period, but he can play third. It is a possibility. Like Ryan Bliss is another guy that's gotten off to a really good start. He had a 3-hit day the other day. We'll see how the rest of his spring progresses, but I'd say people should keep an eye on him, especially if Urias is going to miss time.
I still think it's more likely for one of the two older options, at least at first, to start in the big leagues. I think the Mariners want to get Ryan Bliss like a month, at least, minimum, in AAA to start the season. Get off to a good hitting start. Don't just get thrown into the fire at the big league level. Hey, welcome to the big leagues. You're starting on opening day. Congratulations. Because Bliss last year torched AA, came up to AAA. He was fine in AAA, not Dom Canzone in AAA. He was fine in AAA last year. And even if he's had a good spring, you'd say, okay, well, we want to get your feet under you at AAA first facing AAA pitchers before you bring up. And it's like 98 with a biting slider on the outside corner and immaculate command. Like, I think we should probably work you in a little bit for your own good and give Michael Chavis a more proven major league option, more of a shot at the big league level before Ryan Bliss. However, if it's the All-Star break and and Michael Chavis isn't working out, and that makes more sense because he would have gotten at that point 3 months in AAA, 3 months in the best hitters league in America, the PCL, and he would feel a lot more confident coming up to the big league level.
I'm with you. I think that's the more likely option with Bliss. He didn't hit all that great when he got to AAA in the short amount of time he played there last year. He showed some promise, and everybody knows he has promise. But you're probably right that he's not a Julio type where you can just yank him up from AA. He probably could use a little bit more time in the minor leagues. Like you said, let him get acclimated, let him build up some more confidence, continue to hit through the PCL. And then, yeah, if it's even mid-May, June, etc., and you feel like you need a reinforcement offensively and he's hitting that well, then maybe it becomes an option, especially if Urias isn't back. But I would agree that if they're going to go with somebody internally, if Urias misses time, Chavis is the most likely option, especially if he continues to hit well throughout spring.